Hello guys and welcome back to the Oliver Extra channel. Today we are taking a look at the Atta Mexicana colony because it is one of the colonies a lot of people want to hear about, and it's not one of the colonies I show too much. Now I did a video like this a few months ago. I don't think they had this. I don't think they had. I can't actually remember how big they were, but they weren't. I think actually, this was the outworld and they had the 3 fungi pots. So yeah, as you can see, quite a lot have changed. So let's just go through all the pots to talk about what it's all about. This in here have since day one been focused as a trash pot and where the ants will leave the trash. And it's working like that. As you can see, there's a big trash pile inside and I cleaned out every once in a while. Now what's really annoying is the ants are somewhat trying to escape. They get stuck in here. There's not too many, but some of them come in here and get stuck. Not too nice. And also the day I made this hole right here for ventilation. Biggest mistake I made because they just pulled the cotton and escaped. So now I have tape around the cotton, so if they escape the cotton, they're just faced with this tape. And it's actually working pretty alright, except for the few ants once in a while that get stuck up here. Now I want to say this whole setup is in a bad condition. More on that in a second. As you can see, the workers are then traveling over to this X junction where we have the 2 old Wakushi prototype pots. And both of these pots have recently gone through a big die-off. Now, if I just get my light over here, there we go. You can see that there's a lot of new fungi in here. And that's because the fungi actually dropped quite a few centimeters before they started building it back again. Now I think the reason they did this was because this right here is meant to be a fungi pot, but it's turning into more of a trash pot. And I've cleaned it out once in a while, and it got quite bad at one point, but I didn't know how to clean it out, because I had to disconnect it. And yeah, I think there was so much trash in here that they didn't want to bring the leaves through over to these fungi over here. So all 3 fungi, you can also see this fungi right here. It's grown all of this over the past week, I think, because last week was when I did it. But as you can see, the 2 old prototype pots are in a very bad shape. I'm so happy Wakushi made these prototypes because a lot of things were figured out what not to do. So due to there only being 3 screws, all the testers quite quickly saw that the lid was warping, and workers were able to get in under here. And as you can see, they're just living in here now. Now I have added tape right here because they have also bitten through the gypsum from the bottom and it's coming up through the tube. So they are living in this tube, which is not too ideal, but it's another escape risk I'm dealing with on a daily basis. Luckily they haven't escaped from here, but it is a risk. Now over here is not the same status yet. They haven't gone up here, but they may as well. But you can see they are inside the tube. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a worker right down there walking around inside the tube. So they haven't gotten down. They have got down and through the gypsum. Another escape risk are the sides. As you can see, workers are also down here because they have just removed this plug. There was a plug right here and it's just completely gone. I have no idea where they've put it. I can't see it. It's just gone. Very strange. On the other part over here, it's still in place down there. As you can see, there's this white piece of... Get some light over there. It's quite... hang on. See, this is why I'm don't usually record with my phone. But it is down here. See from this angle, actually, you can see a little bit. There's a white plug. So they can't escape from that yet. Let me just get this all straight up. There we go. So that is a few escape risk that is not on this pot right here, because this is a lot more of a final product. So kudos to Wakushi to doing that, because this has been a brilliant testing, because there are so many flaws with this, and I'm happy that I didn't decide to sell them. That's why it's good with lots of testing. But as you can see, we do have a tube right here with a lot of tape, and that's because these connectors are cement connectors, meaning they're not meant to be used for these kind of tubes. These are very big tubes, And to make them go together, I initially put cotton, but cotton, they just removed the cotton and escaped. So now I've used electrical tape to make the inner tubes a lot more bigger, to make them fit snugly in here. So I've used electrical tape and made the whole thing a lot bigger and put it in, and it's very stuck, and I've had 0 escapees since then. So it's actually working quite well. No, actually it's not. I have had escapees, that's why there's a second layer of tape. Because they have broken through actually all of them. So actually, no, it doesn't work. It worked better than the cotton, but it doesn't work either. So yeah, that's a little bit of why all of this. I want to change it. So I'm really looking forward to the next generation of prototype pots comes, because Wakushi has shown some pics and he is working heavily on them. Now this right here has since day one been the initial fungi I transported from the prototype in here, and in here is where the queen was last seen. I haven't seen her for quite some time, but I haven't looked for quite some time either. So she may be hiding in here. If you see her, let me know. I don't think she's visible at the moment, but she is down in this fungi area right here, meaning in a few weeks she will have to relocate up to the old fungi, new fungi, because the old fungi is dead. So she will come out, sit on the side, and go in the top fungi. She does that every once in a while. I've seen her do it like 3 or 4 times. But as you can see, the fungi looks super healthy. It's just, yeah. Again, all of this were gone last week because they didn't transfer any food in here. So I was actually quite scared that something was going on. But now it's grown all back again. So in here we have the trash pot. That's meant to be a fungi pot. It was a fungi pot for a very long time before it turned into a trash pot. And to be honest, I think it was because I didn't empty this in time, so they decided to make this a trash pot. There's no ventilation at all. And I'm also curious to, that's maybe why they haven't done too well in here. I don't know for sure. But another escape risk is this right here. As you can see, they have bitten the tube completely away. They have removed like 2 centimeters of tube now. And they're just working all that they can from cutting this tube off, meaning one day I'll come home and they will have gone through here and be escaping on the other side. So maybe I need to do something about that quite soon. AKA Wakushi, I would really like to get some prototype pots and test them for you. So you can see right here, this is also a major escape risk, but this is the pot. Also here, tape, because they have escaped this in the past, because this is just a Wakushi tube going in through this, and I've just made a hole and just put the tube through. And it's not the best, but it works. So this is a little bit about this. And there's not too much to say. This was a fungi pot for a lot of months, but they stopped having fungi in here, and now it's a trash pot. Now this right here is another area where the queen may be hiding. This is the big fungus. This is enormous, and this is the main fungi they work on. This is never dead, it's always to the top. And as you can see, there's just fungi, layers on layers upon layers. They still have a little trash area here. This was a little bit of a trash pot in a few weeks, but that was before the fungi grew big. But as you can see, it's a massive fungi pot. I mean, it's big. It's very big, this fungi. If just we had something to measure with. If this video cuts short, it's because I'm recording it on my phone and it may be running out of power. Yeah, it's a 20 centimeter pure fungi, and it's 20 by 30. So 20 by 30 by 20. 20 by 20 by 30 of pure fungi. So it's a lot of pure fungi in here. And of course there's a rope from this going down, and it's just completely gone. It's just, actually we can see a little bit in here at the moment, a little bit. Quite hard to record, but impossible to record, but in there the tube goes in, and there's a little bit of a rope. But as you can see, we then have our little connection that have worked just fine. These haven't had any escape risk yet, so that's good. And then we have the long transportation tube, while we also have fungus in here. It only gets worse, more fungi, even more fungi. And over here, I can see right here, this is a sign that they will escape quite soon, because if trash comes out, it's only a matter of, it's just a matter of time before the miners also can get out. So right here, to escape risk, I need to be aware of them. But as you can see, we have more fungi and more fungi. And if we go over here, this is where the main fungi, the main tube fungi starts, because then we have fungus going all the way over. And pretty much goes all the way up. Now up here they have a lot of brood. Now of course I don't have my light with me, but they have a lot of brood. It's been relocated a little bit, but they had a lot of brood right here. But else the fungi just keeps going up here. And maybe really, hang on, I can get this light for you guys. Of course these extra videos are quite rare and I don't edit them at all. Behind the scenes I'm working on a documentary about my care bears. But if we just turn this on, there we go. Now we have a lot more light up here. So now you can really see the brood and the fungus we have up here. So I'm just gonna put this a little bit down like that. Wonderful. And then we can go over and take a look at this. So they have fungus up here, and they have had a lot of babies up here. I can actually see they have removed most of the babies, but they did at one point have a lot of babies, like they have babies up here. Not babies, I know it's larvae, but it makes more sense to just call them babies. But yeah, this is of course the setup you all know and love, at least know. And then we have this little extension. Now the ants escaped multiple times through walking on this tube, and thanks to Ant Antics, he said that there's a big reason they escape is because before they only had to walk like this, and where he has done the same, pretty much my setup is heavily inspired by his. He has the tube going vertically, and I can then have done this right here, because a vertical tube is a lot harder for the ants to actually escape. I've also done olive oil escape barrier here and PTFE up here to make sure that I have a safe connection. And so far it seems to be working. I made this yesterday, and I've also just made the rope going all the way down here. And down here we have the old rope, which I don't want to take out just yet because there's so many ants, and of course the new rope. Over here we have the main trash pile, where we see a lot of dead workers. Of course also some alive workers, but most of these are dead workers, or at least dying workers. And I do have to empty this out once in a while because it gets too high and they can escape. And that's not something we do like at all. We don't like it. And I'm getting bitten. Let's just get most of them away. But the big problems with this setup is mainly that they really want to escape the corners. I had a period where they escaped almost every day up here, which wasn't nice at all. But now with the new system right here, it's a lot safer. But they are really testing all of the barriers, and that means I have to add olive oil on the barriers a lot of days, especially the corners right here where the construction is the weakest. Now the reason I say olive oil is because I've run out of my normal anti-escape oils, and olive oil is a lot cheaper, and it's right there, so I just put it on and it works fine. But yeah, out in the outworld I feed them a lot. They eat everything. I have stopped feeding them too much. I only feed them one bag of leaves every 2 days now. So they get a big bag of leaves, wait 2 days, and get a big bag of leaves, wait 2 days, and onwards. And if the recording stops, it's because remember my phone says only 20% remaining and it stops recording. But yeah, I have a lot of these dry leaves, so they got a lot of these leaves. And one day they just said, you know what? We don't want to eat these dry leaves. They weren't dried when I got them, but the ants cut them and they just ditched all the leaves, and they just said, you know what, we don't like those. So it was very annoying because it was one of their favorite leaves, but they were just too dry and they didn't accept that. But else I've tried feeding them spinach. I don't know what's called this, spinach. And they actually ate the entire bag. I've also fed them broccoli. I don't know if you've seen the shorts I've done here on the channel, but I also fed them a broccoli and they eat the entire broccoli. So I fed them a few broccolis and they leave nothing remaining. After about 2 weeks, it's completely gone. The first week is heavily fed and then the next week is a break, but they eat it all. But yeah, I have antimatter liquid feeders out here, which I fill with water as the water source, even though I give them leaves as well. I sometimes drop in a little bit of sugar water, but mostly I don't get the sugar water, and else I also have some spare test tubes out here. I really need to do a cleanup and get all these leaves away, or these sticks away. But the problem is there's often a lot of workers on these. There's 5 or 6 workers on this one stick, and that's what takes ages to remove. But this has been a tour of the setup and how the colony is doing. So the colony is doing just as fine as they've ever done, and they are heavily being kept back just because they are growing very fast. You can also see we are starting to get some quite big majors. I don't know if these are the biggest one yet, but we have some quite big majors, and they are generally very confusing. They're very confused when I look at them. But yeah, the colony is doing very well, and yeah, this has been a little update of my Atta Mexicana right before or November of 2022. Enjoy your day, and remember to don't forget to like and subscribe.